The One I Loved, Oh the One I Loved, I had to dance at his wedding. The One I Loved, I had to dance at his wedding. So this is a song which is trending on Reels these days. So another hint for this movie, this actor was also the lead of Aramitera.
ਨਿੰਜੇ ਦਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਸ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੱਲਾ ਚੰਗਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ
Ninja will be disappointed not to see this. I've seen someone जिसके साथ आप remix reels बनाते हो.
हाँ, चित्रांगदा is one, and then I think nowadays I like Kiara Advani a lot.
Any picture or anything that you've uploaded on social media and then regretted afterwards?
Never.
Ever?
I do things which I know I'll regret, but then I don't care.
Okay.
I hear from the people, Aki pata paji tusi log. It doesn't matter. It's okay. And in our case, specifically in Vital, we are now focusing on web series as well, which is a market where you can actually create and do subjects which sometimes you are restricted to do in films, right? Because I think the overseas audiences is really well exposed to all kinds of cinemas. They are used to watching Western cinemas, Hollywood and Bollywood. So if they do not find that difference, which they cannot find in those segments in Hollywood or Bollywood, so that is the real attraction they find in Punjabi films. Hi Mehak, how are you?
Very good. How's everything? How was the COVID time?
Everything was okay. COVID was a difficult time. Business was very low. The industry was not doing very good. Cinemas were closed. It was a tough time, but now things are better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Gunbir, asking about, you did your college and school life in engineering. You had an engineering background and then you shifted to this profession.
Yeah.
What intrigued you mainly to enter the film industry?
So it took me around 6-7 years to enter into this industry. I finished my post-graduation in engineering from Imperial College. And I did a few other businesses to begin with to stabilize myself. I had one thing very clear in my head, that I wanted to do something in business itself. I didn't want to do a job. So it took me some time to stabilize myself, to bring me to that level of financial stability that I could enter into this business. This is a very risky business, as everybody knows. So I had a lot of passion for films. I used to watch films very regularly. I was an avid viewer, and I used to actually follow up with all the business details of the films and who did what, the technicians and the director. I used to update myself with everything. So eventually, when I had a little bit of finances in my hand, I decided to venture into it, and Jackie and Juliet was the first film, and then the journey began from there. Yeah.
So Jackie and Juliet was a pretty unconventional name.
Yeah.
The word Jat and Juliet.
Yeah.
It is usually Jat and Mutiara or anything synonymous to the Punjabi industry.
Yeah.
Juliet was a Shakespeare's synonym. So how did the name come up?
Actually, when I joined the film was already on floor. Speed Records was the main producer of the film. I joined the film, it was already there. So I saw that it's very interesting. The name is very interesting. Diljit at that point of time already was a hit guy with the film before that, with Gippy. And Neeru was a superstar. So I thought, and I realized that this film could be one of the successful films and a different film. So I stepped into it, rest is history, everything went on perfectly, and the film became one of the biggest blockbusters.
So
like Dilwale Dulhania was a trendsetter for Hindi films in overseas market. Jat and Juliet rightly was a trendsetter for the Punjabi films in the overseas market.
Definitely. Yeah. So what's like a fan moment when you were working with both the successful stars?
It was very exciting, very new. Actually, the entire experience, when I wanted to enter into films, I wanted to learn so many things, and I wanted to see how the director would shoot the film, how the camera would work, how the actors would work. But as a producer, I had a lot of burden from the first day. I had to finalize the locations and everything. So I got to have hands-on experience on the very first day. So Jackie and Juliet entire 16, 17 days of schedule in Chandigarh, I was the guy who single-handedly managed it, got the locations, the entire production setup. So I got a very early on experience as a producer, although my interests were to sit behind the camera and see how the shots were taken, but I couldn't actually focus on that. I had to do the production side, but it was very interesting, yeah.
So any specific reason for choosing the production line rather than not going to the direction field?
See, I wanted to get into the direction side, but as they say, sometimes you plan something and something else happens. So once the film became a successful film, everybody who was in the film, right from the directors to the actors, they identified me and my brother Sunny as successful producers. So a lot of onus came on us to produce good films, especially Jackie and Juliet 2 and other films. So this is how, we proceeded. We could not actually get time to specifically divert into direction. The studio became bigger every day and a lot of responsibilities came in, so we had to focus on this.
How well do you manage the pressure or working under pressure?
Got used to it now. I mean, in the early days, we had a few failures as well in the form of Romeo Ranja, lost a lot of money as well. But then we understood the nerve of this industry that, it's all about passion for the films. And you cannot actually be in this business for the sake of money. If you do not like making films and the entire arrangement behind it, just for the sake of money, this is not the right industry, because you never know what's going to happen on Friday. So once you get hold of it, you get used to it, and then, ups and downs, they keep on coming. You know how to balance them, how to take that burden. Yeah.
How accurate is your prediction in terms of whether a movie is going to go?
Quite accurate, I would say. Because before entering into this industry, I told you that I have been following films since 90s and the business side of films as well. So I think that sixth sense is there, and one can easily guess and make an assessment from the trailer or from the story, screenplay, or how the film is looking, whether it will be accepted in the public to that extent or not. You can be wrong, but generally I'm quite right on the business aspect of the films.
Any film that you consider did not turn out the way you wanted it to?
Our film Aramitera, which we released before COVID, it is a very well appreciated, highly acclaimed film on satellite as well as on digital. In cinemas also it was appreciated, but we could not get the numbers which we expected. We were expecting a bigger opening and higher numbers to come in, but we didn't get that. So I think that's where the anticipation went a little wrong.
But these concepts are changing. Aramitera again was a concept which was much away from the way the normal society works in terms of how women are perceived in families, and there are upcoming movies which are totally going against the concepts. How do you feel about the industry shifting?
See, it was our intention to make Aramitera a standout film when it comes to the concept. All our previous films, they were very cliche when we, if I use that word correctly, that, Muklava or Carry on Jatta 2 or any other film in the past. We did not try to do anything different as far as characters are concerned, or, how you set up the film. So Aramitera had that mixed juice in it. So that was the gist of the film, and that was the upside of the film as well. Yeah. We had a girl who was a Jatti and a guy who was a non-Jatt guy. Generally, that kind of a combination is not there. So we wanted to rope in the urban audience as well and the rural audience as well. So I think in future as well, films with different genres and a setup which can bring in non-Jatt and non-Sikh people to watch Punjabi films is very important, and it will happen and it should happen.
Are you planning to revolutionize the movie business in any form?
See, revolutionize is something which we do not think while making a film. It happens automatically if it has to. But I think everybody today is trying to do better and to bring in concepts which are new, novel. And in our case, specifically in Vital, we are now focusing on web series as well, which is a market where you can actually create and do subjects which sometimes you are restricted to do in films, right? You cannot take that kind of a chance or a risk because money is involved are very huge. In case of web series, you can try different subjects, bring in novel ideas. And with all these OTTs coming in and everything, I think things are already getting better for the Punjabi industry. Yeah.
But I think everything has its own upside and downside. So for OTT platforms, it's getting its fair share of audience and people are viewing it. But there's at the same point, people are also of the mindset that whatever goes up there is not censored, or it's just out there open and anybody's doing everything just in order to gain more views or just in order to earn. So what are your views on that?
See, I believe that censorship to some extent is not actually very good for the creativity of the films and for the filmmakers, right? Just for the sake of getting audience, if you try to put in bold scenes or something, that is not advised, but in certain places that's the requirement of the script as well. So abusive language, for example, or crude language, when you watch certain web series, you find it very, very required and very, very impactful. That in particular scene, if that kind of language was not used, it would probably not have the same weightage. So I think when it comes to an OTT platform, the mature audience can always choose what to watch and what not to watch. So, it's a subscription-based model. It's not that it's an open platform that you go into a cinema and you can watch a ticket, buy a ticket and watch. So it's perfectly fine if there's no censorship. I think all kinds of content is there. People can choose what to watch and what not to.
What's your personal favorite genre to work with or to watch?
I think action thriller is one of my favorite, which which you can't try much in Punjabi cinemas because Punjabi audience generally favors outright comedy and everything. We tried Sabadar, it didn't work very well. But if given a chance, I would try to work on that genre.
Now, Whitehill is also associated with that if anybody has to, like a star making company, that, anybody who is associated with Whitehill or gets associated with Whitehill can be or comes into the limelight very easily. How do you feel about the love that you're receiving from this industry?
I'm very grateful, very thankful and very, very humbled that, our company has been given that much of love and respect, and we have reached to this level wherever we are. My honest approach towards my work is one of the things which I think saves us and keeps us going on. I always make sure that I still talk to young people and give them opportunities where I can. A lot of people get in touch with me on my Instagram and I generally reply to most of them. And I sometimes hear that, we do not get answers from anybody and you still do that. So I feel that, there was a time when I struggled and entered into this industry. So similarly, if I can do good to somebody who's new, and actually you sometimes get a lot of good talent as well from newcomers. So I always make sure that, our company keeps on doing something to bring in new actors or technicians, and whether it be in films or web series or music videos or anything. So if God has blessed you that, your company can support new talent, I think you should. And I think that makes us a little popular in the market. Yeah.
So you're pretty active on social media.
Yeah.
Ever thought of coming in front of the camera?
No, not at all. That's just my hobby, what I keep on doing. I get a lot of backlash as well from everybody. They view the owner of the company and, being an MD, you have to have a serious personality and you can't put all those posts on your Instagram. So that's my personal fun thing which I do, and दुनिया तो वैसे भी किसी बारे की चंगा बोल दी, so you don't have to worry. You have to do whatever you feel is good for yourself.
So there's another actor who's receiving a lot of backlash these days. and predictions are that because of the industry, his own personal film is also being affected. Your views on that?
A few days back, I posted something on my Instagram as well regarding Emmy, that it's not actually an actor's fault, not even Emmy or anybody else. Once a film is produced, there are so many elements that are involved in the release of the film. A producer has, spent a lot of money. He has raised a lot of funds. You do not know where he has raised the funds from. And then he would want to release the film with a certain distributor. Now, so many elements come into picture, and then finally a decision is taken that the film will be released on this particular day or via this distributor. So actor doesn't have a lot of say in that. He has taken a professional fee at the beginning of the film. He is responsible to provide his services, and then that's it. After that, he's not the person who's going to decide when and how the film is going to be released. And in case of Emmy, I think he's one of the biggest supporters to the farmer movement. Yeah. And I have personally known him, and I've seen that he has done a lot of things off the record for the farmers and for the movement. So I think it was not actually too good to him to be blamed for the release of the films. Yeah.
You've been in this industry from past decade. What all major changes have you seen, and what other in which other aspects do you see the Punjabi industry rising in upcoming future?
A lot of changes have happened. I started my career in 2011. I was one of the beginners at that point of time. Not many films were being produced. I think there were only handful films released in a year, not more than 10, 15, I could guess. And overseas market was not even there. Now Canada and Australia have become significant markets in comparison to the Indian market. Pakistan has opened up. A lot of good content is being made. There are so many producers now in the market who are very competitive, and they're making amazing content. More than 60, 70 films are being produced. OTTs, Amazon, Netflix, they have been buying Punjabi content. You can find the Punjabi content in all the leading OTT platforms. Recently, Chopal, the locally Desi OTT, you can call it, has been launched. So many new things have happened. Music industry is booming like anything. It's one of the leading industries after Bollywood, or at par with Bollywood. So lots to happen in the future. I think there's an exponential growth. Earlier, all your films, post-production and everything used to happen in Mumbai. Now major post-production studios are here in the city. So it's the entire industry has become very comprehensive and inclusive, and Chandigarh or Mohali has become the hub. Yeah. So we are becoming self-sufficient every day, and I think in the future we will be looking at the Punjabi cinema and music industry as a very competitive and huge industry in comparison to Bollywood.
There has been another shift in terms of earlier the films were very centric to the Punjabi culture, and now there have been a lot of, either through songs or through movies, a lot of weapons or other substances are being promoted. So is it, I wouldn't say is it right or wrong, but your personal preference to it?
So this keeps on happening, these weapons and, drugs or, things like these. So there's a mixed bag, right? I mean, if we say that, songs are there which have weapons and all that stuff, then there are romantic songs as well. There are other songs which are pertaining to daughters, sisters. So there's a mixed bag. We just highlight something which works more. Yeah. So if, today there's a farmers movement going on, or people in Punjab have a lot of resentment for the government or otherwise. So if there's a song which is relatable to that, so automatically it will work. So it's just a matter of time, what works and what doesn't. So it's never been the case that, okay, only this is being promoted intentionally. It's a mixed bag. So it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
You cannot stop people from creating whatever they feel like.
Right. And in terms of production budget, from earlier times to times right now, the Punjabi industry has also seen a change in the production budget.
I think production budgets, are quite similar. We made the costliest films in 2012, 2013, Punjab 1984, Sardar Ji 1. They had huge budgets at that point of time. Budgets are the same, reason being that the distribution network for Punjabi films is nearly the same. The state is very small. The distribution network is small. We hope that the Punjab in Pakistan can open up and the market can become much bigger than what it is today. So any producer will not want to spend too much of money or make a film very risky for recovery. So slowly and steadily things will change. Costlier films, big films will be made, but it will take a little bit of time. When I say big films, means films like what you see in South, like BalleBolly or the likes of BalleBolly. Not to that extent, but still something which can be called a historic saga, or something which requires huge sets and a lot of VFX. That sort of thing will need some time.
How do you make sure that you're updated with all sort of content and you are gaining a lot of knowledge and being creative at the same point of time?
Day in, day out, you're working and you're listening to concepts and you are coming across new songs and new films, and you're watching content. So I think you remain updated. That is what you do the entire day. So you cannot run away from it. So automatic updation happens.
Can we see Whitehill opening up Punjabi OTT for the audience?
See, we would be focusing on making a lot of content, but opening an OTT is something which we would not be doing. As of now, an OTT is already open. We hope that becomes a successful venture. Yeah.
Okay. Any major differences that you find between the foreign audience and the Indian or the Punjabi audience?
Foreign audience, I believe, is still too attached with the core Punjabi culture, and they love watching those films which are very, very close to Punjabiyat, and they see those reflections, their villages and the lingo and all that family system. Yeah. Because I think the overseas audiences is really, really well exposed to all kinds of cinemas. They are used to watching Western cinemas, Hollywood and Bollywood. So if they do not find that difference, which they cannot find in those segment in Hollywood or Bollywood, so that is the real attraction they find in Punjabi films.
And the Punjabi audience,
that is what they're looking forward to. That's why films like Angrez and Muklawa and Nikka Zaildar and all these films, they have worked very well in the overseas market.
And for the Punjabi audience, they're looking for they're looking for the overseas.
There's a Punjabi audience here, I think, because they are used to that, so they're looking for something different. Yeah, so that is why, if you see statistics of certain films working here, probably would not work at all in Canada. Yeah. So
how do you make sure there's a balance between both of them?
That is why I think people at this point of time, producers and filmmakers, are taking no chances. Most of the films that are being made are family comedy films, which is a very safe genre. So whenever you go out of that zone, so then it becomes a little dicey. Yeah. So we have tried those as a leading studio. We've tried making films which are little different. Aramitera, Saab Badar, Channa Meria, all those were experimental films. So they did not work in the overseas market. Because people do not want experiments over there. They just want simple, straight, Punjabi, hardcore, funny, and that family kind of a.
How much are you involved with the director's perspective while
pre-production level? We are fully involved to see the final screenplay in hand, the dialogue draft final, and to see how the film is going to be made, where it is going to be shot, music and everything. Once the film goes on floor, I think then director takes on, and producers should not interfere. I believe that is the best policy.
And what is the process of whenever you read a script and then you decide?
Around 3 months to 6 months goes into the pre-production of the film, and the production generally takes 40 days max. So the film is done. After that, post-production takes another 1.5 to 2 months, depending on how quickly you want to do it.
So Gunbir, now I have a fun segment for you, which is that you have to guess the Punjabi song by its English lyrics.
Achha.
So we'll start. I'll give you a little bit hints.
Okay.
First, I need to look secretly. The one I loved. Oh, the one I loved. I had to dance at his wedding. The one I loved. I had to dance at his wedding. So this is a song which is trending on reels these days.
Oh, Sunanda Sharma.
Yeah.
अपने चोरी
See, I told you would have known.
Okay.
Okay. A Punjabi girl is like gunpowder. She keeps friendship with cartridges. Your flowers will get rotten. When they will come into my hands, the Punjabi girl is like gunpowder. Another song which is trending with, or which is mostly being related with Vicky Kaushal.
अच्छा वो बंदूक जही
बारूद वर्गी
मैं कल्ली चंगी हां वो
I'll give you this point. Barood Jatti hai Barood Vargi. Okay. So this is a song which was under the banner of White Hill. I think you have to make it right.
Okay.
The day I broke up with you, at that place my life has finished. I know that you will not come back. Still my eyes are not stopping to cry. Meeting is on one side. I can't even see you now. So another hint for this movie, this actor was also the lead of Aramitera.
निंजे ਦਾ ਗਾਣਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਬਸ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੱਲਾ ਚੰਗਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ
Ninja will be disappointed not to see this. ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ
ਅੱਛਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਹਾਂ ਸਮਝ ਗਿਆ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਓਕੇ
So this is the last one. Boy asks for cash in lakhs on phone. Boy does not do easy work. Richer persons bear his expenditures. He listened to Indian songs. The whole Punjab talks about it. Jat is summoned in Jodhpur court. The whole Punjab talks about it. I gave you the keyword.
हाँ courtroom वाला
No.
नहीं
Jat is summoned in Jodhpur court. ਜੱਟ ਦੀ ਜੋਧਪੁਰ ਪੇਸ਼ੀ ਚਰਚਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਕਰਦੀ ਜੱਟ
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ
ਦੀ
ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਨਾ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਗਾਣਿਆਂ ਦੀ
ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ
ਇੰਸਟਾਗ੍ਰਾਮ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਹਿੰਦੀ ਗਾਣੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਥੋੜਾ
So the last segment is that you have to dedicate old Hindi songs to the following people.
Okay.
Song for Manmord.
ये दोस्ती हम नहीं तोड़ेंगे दम मगर तेरा साथ ना छोड़ेंगे.
Great. Sonam Bajwa.
चौदहवीं का चांद हो या आफताब हो जो भी हो खुदा की कसम लाजवाब हो.
Amazing. Diljit
भाजी वास्ते तो वो कैंट होना चाहिए. मुकद्दर का सिकंदर वाला आई थिंक वुड बी दी सूटेबल सॉन्ग फॉर दिलजीत भाजी. केड़ा थी गाना मुकद्दर का सिकंदर जाने मन कहलाएगा.
Celebrity crush. आपका कौन होगा? I've seen someone जिसके साथ आप remix reels बनाते हो.
हाँ, चित्रांगदा is one, and then I think nowadays I like Kiara Advani a lot.
Okay.
Hindi.
You watched Shesha?
Huh?
You watched
Yeah,
Shesha?
I watched Shesha.
How did you
It was a nice film. Good film.
Your most embarrassing moment?
Embarrassing moment. As such, I can't think of any. Embarrassing moment in
Or
like.
embarrassing pictures that you've posted on Instagram.
Also, that is quite embarrassing what I keep on doing. You know,
But you're pretty confident in everything.
Yeah, see, my philosophy is that, you know, what I do is, you know, I at that point of time feel like doing it. And I feel that, okay, yeah, this is something which is going to make me happy at that point of time. And I do not think that what people are going to think about what is being done. Because as such, you know, if you think though, you know, I get a very good quote from that film, Sanju. जिधर जो सीगा ना कि कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, लोगों का काम है कहना. So that is very appropriate in my case.
Any picture or anything that you've uploaded on social media and then regretted afterwards?
Never ever.
ever?
I do things which I know I'll regret, but then I don't care. I hear from the people, Aki pata paji tusi log that doesn't matter. It's okay.
So I think we can try. So there's a segment in our magazine which is called Kithe Lupt Ho Gaye.
Achha.
Let me try. These are very old Punjabi, ठेठ Punjabi शब्द जो आजकल लोग use नहीं करते. सलोत्तर. I'll give you a hint for this one. ਜਿਹੜੀ teacher use करदी है बच्चों ਨੂੰ मारन वास्ते.
डंडा.
बरगा. जट दी जोधपुर पेशी हुई सी. किथे हुई सी?
कोर्टरूम.
मिकराज.
ਇਹਦਾ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਹਿੰਟ ਦਿਓ ਨਾ.
ਇਹਦਾ ਹਿੰਟ ਹੈ ਪੇਪਰ ਨੂੰ
ਲੱਭੇ ਵਰਡ ਸਾਰੇ.
ਇਹ ਬਸ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੱਭ ਕੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਠੇਠ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੱਜਕੱਲ ਲੋਕੀ ਯੂਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਮੈਗਜ਼ੀਨ 'ਚ ਸੈਗਮੈਂਟ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਲੁਪਤ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਮਿਕਰਾਜ ਇਜ਼ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੇਪਰ ਕੱਟਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ.
ਪੇਪਰ ਕਟਰ ਨਾਈਫ. Sorry,
Okay. रंजूर.
ना जी ना बिल्कुल नेड़े तेड़े नहीं.
कोविड च बंदे की हो रहे सी?
कोविड बीमार.
So a person who's sick is known as रंजूर. पगा.
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 तो रिटायर हो जाना चाहिए. बड़ी बेइज्जती हो रही है ना. पता नहीं जी.
You guessed he was right. So, I'm not. Usually people are either मैं night person हूँ या फिर मैं
day person.
Early morning. Early morning is पगा. Last word is मस्कीन.
अच्छा मस्कीन तो सुने ना यार. I think very simple.
Introvert.
Introvert. Okay.
Right. I think we're done with the segment and you do it really well.
0 out of 5.
नहीं आपने 4 तो अच्छे गेस किए. So I think we can give it for you. 3 quick things that nobody knows about Manmord. Just to make sure that Manmord has already answered 3 things about you that nobody knows about you. So you have to answer 3 things that nobody knows about Manmord.
I think one, he is an emotional person, which nobody would guess, and everybody thinks that he is very straight and very professional and heartless kind of a person, but he is very emotional.
Is this a similarity between both of you?
No, I think my emotions though are out now. They are coming out everywhere. I mean, they're hard to stop, but he is like, he controls his emotions perfectly, very well. I think he's into fitness and all. Everybody knows about that.
Anything that he's particularly fond of that nobody knows?
Yeah, I think he's into brands. So he loves branded things. So I think that's something somebody cannot perfectly see from the first look, but one has to closely monitor him to see that he's another thing which I could say is that there's one more thing, but it's quite sensitive. I think better I don't say.
Right off camera. Right. So one difference between both of you?
I think he's very patient here. He's very patient, very calm. So I can lose temper at times and I can become rash. So I think that's one very big difference between us, and that is why our combination is very perfect. So he can face a situation very calmly, and I would probably get on my toes, become a little rash about it. So I think that's one big difference.
Thank you so much, Gunbir. It was lovely having a word with you.
Thank you to the entire audience of BalleBolly to take this beautiful interview of mine. Thank you.
Thank you so much.